Hello, everyone. One of the questions that you might have seen or came to your mind is if I have what we call an oblique plane or plane type 3, the one that is not perpendicular and not parallel to any of the major three views, front, top, or right, if I want to see it in drafting, so basically do the front, top, and right view, then it would be something like this, right? In all three views, it is going to show as a plane. All of them are smaller than the real size, so I can never see that plane full size, okay? Or if I want to find, let's say, an angle about it or anything, I cannot do it. Now, if it's a plane type 2, which is perpendicular to something, for a perpendicular plane, like for example, if I do something like a chamfer or something here, right? Let me just add a chamfer, a big chamfer. Then something like that. For that, I have no problem. Although in none of the views I can see it full size, right? Let me go back. So it gets updated. You can see. In this view and this view, it's basically it's going to be invisible, right? And in this view, it's going to be a surface is smaller. In this view, it's going to be what? An edge. So here, if I want to create the auxiliary view, right? For this one, I can do it because I know exactly the edge that I need to use for the auxiliary view, right? You all know that I have shown you the auxiliary view. So the first thing you need to define is a reference edge. And if I use that edge, 2 points on that edge, then I can create what? An auxiliary view. So that's not a hard thing to do. All I need is, you see, I choose the edge and then it is going to show me that full size. Okay, but what about a plane type 3 like this guy here? So for this one, there is no way to do it with a simple auxiliary view because there is no reference edge here. So what do I do? So one of the solutions is this. You go here to this 3D object, and here you define a view that is normal to this plane. So you're going to see normal to that plane, where if you see in that direction, it's full size. So look here, I left click here and say normal to it. So I can see normal to that. Clearly, this is not isometric and it's not front, top, or right. And then this new view, which is normal to that, I give it a new name. So for that, I go here to the views, and then I click on this command here, which is called new view. Click on this and give it some name. For example, I call it perpendicular plane type 3. Okay, give it just some name. And I do that. Now that view is added to my views. You see here, it's a previous one I made. So now if I put it back in isometric, anytime I want to go and see normal to that plane, I don't need to click here and say normal to or anything. I can use a space and then what? Say, hey, give me this view, perpendicular to plane type 3. And not only that, this create new view is useful. When you go to the drafting here, you can go to this guy here on the right side. It's called view palette. So you click on the view palette. And now view palette is, if you refresh it, it should have the views from your 3D object, front, top, right, everything. And if you go down, now you should see what? This guy here, perpendicular to plane type 3. And you can just drag and drop it here. Look. There we go. So basically, without doing any auxiliary or anything, this view is going to show me what? The perfect true size. And that's one way to show the true size, or if you want to see other things of this object. For example, if I wanted to know what's the angle between two of the edges, clearly I'm not going to find that angle in any of these views because these angles are not right. If I want to find the angle between these two edges, then I definitely need to see it full scale like this, and then go ahead and measure this angle, right? Like that. Okay, so it is very critical to show it full scale. That's the first method of showing that plane type 3. There is an alternative also. What is the alternative? So the alternative is, under this drawing, there is this powerful command called relative view, which is basically doing the same thing in a different path, but it's the same thing. So here you create a new view in drafting using two perpendicular planes that you have in the in the 3D model. Click on this command. You see it says select a planar face in the model, and then you also need another plane. So first here you have to say the model that forms one of your major planes, one of your major views, is which one. So here I click on this, and it takes me to the model and says, hey, now tell me exactly which one it is. And I say this guy. So it says, fine, I make this the front view, right? And then it says, now you have to give me a surface or a plane that is perpendicular to this guy. And so I can call it my right view. Now, clearly you see I don't have anything in this model that is perpendicular to that. So I cannot select anything right now. I need to have a plane perpendicular to this, which I don't have. I have to add one. So what I need to do is I need to create that plane ahead of time so I can use it. So I turn this off. I come back here and I need to create a reference plane. I don't need a surface, a plane. So I go here and I go to plane and I say, I want this guy to be what? I want this guy to be, let's say, perpendicular to this line, perpendicular, and I wanted it to be at this point. So you see now I have created this plane perpendicular to that edge at that point, so this guy can act as my right face, right? So if I just add that, now I can go back and redo that command. So look here. Let's do it again. Let's do the relative view command. Click here, and say this guy is my front face, and then for right I choose this plane. You see, now it should do the job. Let's click. And now you see here, there we go. So this is a relative view that is made by that face and a perpendicular plane. And if you look in this guy, it's also it's also perpendicular to that, of course, rotated compared to this guy, but you clearly can see that this is this is full size. And for example, if I want to get some angle again, then I should be able to do that. For example, maybe it's this angle or one of these angles, right? So you see this is 58. If I want this angle, this is that 55.79. So you see that angle is exactly the same as this one is, right? So I can, as I said, I can create a view, a new view in 3D and use the view palette, or I can I can use this relative view in drafting and define two faces. One, the face of interest, the other one, an extra plane or surface. If exists, fine. If not, I make one. And then I can get the true size and the true shape of an oblique plane. So these are two useful commands that I said I wanted to share with you. So hopefully the video was useful, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.